University of St. Thomas. The expectations are set. Let's see if they're able to meet them here in the semifinals.
Ooh, okay. Again, last resistance going to be doing a very similar thing, but this time on the bottom side of the map instead of the top side of the map. And hey, now we get to know where everybody is going. It is in fact going to be the Shen support and the Set top lane and the Karma mid. So lots of flex options coming through, and Trevor kind of spot out everybody down here and is going to be able to walk away. And ooh, that's a bit of a sad face coming through for last resistance there. Not going to be able to clear out the ward.
Reborn doesn't care. He'll take a swing. He'll go for the fight. Trevor just watches, but hey, it's a good spot. Good. Maybe they were watching the game last time. Maybe they saw these cheesy plays come out. Last resistance, and able to get the University of St. Thomas just going for the 5-man stack. 5-man spread, excuse me.
See what they want to do with this. We are seeing that Kitsuo going to be starting on the top half of the map, and a difference coming in between Kitsuo and Beiko is that Kitsuo choosing to go with the Conqueror, whereas we saw the Predator coming out in the previous Hecarim, and that does mean that he's going to be a little bit more damage and a little bit more sustain during all these fights, but not necessarily going to have the same kind of upfront burst and not necessarily going to be as strong in their ability to find creative ganking paths, because they do have a lot of speed, just not the same amount that Predator would provide. So Kitsuo on the opposite side of the map is going to be very happy to try and avoid King Clueless early on and maybe go for some unexpected ganks.
Never know when the level 2 gank comes out, Joshi. It's always surprising when you get something like that.
True.
You know?
Bonk.
Get creative with it, thwart the expectations, Joshi.
Oh,
it's the preseason. Boy. Bring the experimental stuff and bring the fights as well. That's what Trevor's doing right now as he goes right after Reborn to Nextney, bullying them away. Goes for the flash forward. Trevor so low. First blood for Exony, though, as he's able to flash forward and finish him off.
Trevor going a little bit too far forward. That fight was going so well until fourth shot comes through. Just going too aggressive at the very end. And it feels like such a tragedy because Texas was completely uncontested during that entire fight. Nobody was hitting him. That just meant that Trevor was taking all the damage all on his own. And the advantage they had built up for themselves in terms of HP just completely undone by the fact that Exony walks away with a kill. And so, UST put on the back foot a little bit right off the bat, taking a fight that they probably should have won and not being able to actually finalize.
And it's so painful, Joshi, because that tower range can be deceitful sometimes. Trevor was just on the edge of it before he ate that tower shot. Now Trevor's looking for his revenge, going after afters. Kitsuo's going to wait over behind the wall to make sure he doesn't have an escape route with his flash. One more gold card comes out. Kitsuo now starting to burn that movement, but it's all said and done. Auto comes through. Nope, a tick of health, but Trevor will get the kill and finish it off, unable to feed it over.
Oh my god.
No, unable to feed it over to Robbie Bob.
Oh, okay. All right. Good play coming out from Elated, recognizing, Trevor could come up, and now we're seeing another duel.
I was waiting for this, King Clueless. Now looking to take it to Kitsuo. Kitsuo now looking to back off, but he is pincered in a rough spot. King Clueless will go down, though. Get the buff transfer completed, and it will be completed one more time as Elated will be able to grab another kill. Goes right after Trevor. Trevor, oh so low. The Haymaker puts him down. A double kill for Elated.
All right, gotta say, though, Eric, this is looking pretty standard for the way that UST like to play. I remember, I think it was Wildcard Red also kind of played this way too, where there's like, yeah, we're going to take every skill check and, if we win, great. If we don't, well, it's okay. We'll be able to come back a little bit later on. But the one thing that we do got to say, Kitsuo, he wasn't going to win that 1v1 against the Talon, but he was able to buy enough space, and now going to have to try and do it again.
He's trying to take it, but he doesn't realize priority is not on his side in the bot lane, in the mid lane. Kitsuo trying to get some backup. Trevor shows up, but Kitsuo is going to fall. Going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Now caught up is Afters. Afters starts his retreat, backs over to Reborn. Reborn is there and now going for the re-engage. Able to catch it on to Trevor, but unable to follow through with much else. Just chasing UST out of their jungle.
Something that we haven't touched on just quite yet, Eric, is the level disparities that are already starting to come through. Talon farms a lot faster than Hecarim. Even with the 20% reduced damage that he does to minions as compared to the previous patch, he's still going to be able to clear out very, very effectively. So Kitsuo down a level against King Clueless. Mid lane, Robbie Bob was down a level against Afters for that last fight in the bottom lane because Trevor dies at level 1, roams towards the top side, is going to continue to be down on experience up against Reborn. And it does mean that there's a lot of extra stats coming in for last resistances, and UST going to have to do a little bit in order to try and recoup some of these early game losses that they've had. And the question's going to be, where is it going to come from? My answer is probably Robbie Bob.
So definitely a good start coming out of Last Resistance so far, getting all these leads that you had just mentioned. Looking over in the mid lane for Robbie Bob. Imagine it is going to come from him, as well as Katsuo paired along with that. You still have a little bit more time before he's able to get that level 6 and start using the Destiny Gate. And then the question comes, where is he going to plan to throw that down? What is going to be the attack for UST?
Doesn't make sense to really go top lane set, really resistant to these kind of ganks, and not necessarily going to have a whole lot of damage provided by the Malphite. Instead, expecting it's probably going to have to be the bottom lane, or potentially, interacting with the junglers like we previously called out. Robbie Bob, or the Twisted Fate, very easily able to turn 1v1s into 2v1s in his team's favor. And he's also chosen to pick up the early Ionians. I do like this choice on Twisted Fate myself, because it does mean that you get your next ultimate a little bit faster than you would otherwise have if you normally go for the Lost Chapter.
Dredge line onto Reborn. Reborn's going to return fire as he hops in. Might have bitten off more than he can chew. Instantly has to back off. Falls to just about 100 health as Texas makes him pay.
Looking a little bit similar to how the level 1 fight went, right? Like, this was a situation where Reborn was the one taking all of the damage, like Trevor was at level 1. But now we have both Robbie and Kitsu on the top half of the map. We were saying that they were a team that liked to go for these dives. Robbie starting to come through as the wave does start to crash. This could be an opportunity for them to go for this with no teleport on afters and no ultimate from Reborn.
Wave is crashing. So looking to set up for it. One more minion remains. There is the unstoppable force in the chain of CC. Beautiful from UST. They execute the dive and they get out.
And they do it in such a way where there's no way for Elated. By using the ultimate followed up by the gold card, there is no chance for Elated to use the Haymaker. There is no way for him to get that big shield in order to actually survive. And good play coming through. I wasn't expecting it to be in the top lane, and I guess the ultimate still wasn't used top lane.
Yeah.
But it does end up meaning that UST now going to be the ones who have a little bit more freedom to try and use that next ultimate in the bottom side.
The teleport to get back to lane. Destiny Gate still available for Robbie Bob. Just going to clear the wave and get back, because he does have that spell book. Now the rest of the squad of UST taking the reset. So got 3 minutes before a Drake does hit the map rather early into this game. Elated, focusing over towards his top side, has been able to get a decent lead for himself, all things considered.
Texas.
As now the shots come through, Texas not realizing he is caught by himself. Exony able to get the kill. And the rest of the dive working so far so good for Last Resistance. But here comes backup. And it's going to be a little bit of hubris now as Robbie Bob's able to show up. Goes right after Exony. Gets the final pop in. Robbie Bob with the shutdown just barely survives.
Barely staying alive that entire time. That's crazy. Kitsuo, I don't think he's going to be able to take this fight. I think Afters just walks out. But man, a huge turnaround coming through from there. And Kitsuo, yeah, is going to have to be backing away. And Robbie Bob, the thing about fighting those... Oh, is he okay?
Oh, here we go in the top lane. Porsche gets 1v1 by Elated. Elated take...
Kitsuo.
He's not happy about what happened earlier, and Katsuo's not going to be happy about that kill that just happened in the mid lane, falling to Afters in the process.
Man, I was just going to praise UST for the fact that now Robbie Bob gets to crash this and farm because he knows there's nobody left alive on the bottom side of the map. But then his top half just falls apart instantly after that. We didn't get to see how Kitsuo went down, but Porsche losing that 1v1 in this matchup is looking really, really rough. And Last Resistance, we weren't expecting them to necessarily be skill checking UST in this kind of fashion. We were expecting that to be going over to University of St. Thomas, but Last Resistance showing a lot more resistance than we were initially expecting. And King Clueless does, in fact, remember to pick that up.
Some good stuff coming out of Last Resistance. Here comes Katsuo looking to challenge over the Scuttle. King Clueless going to back off instead, realizing that the backup of Porsche was just waiting in the wings. And now here comes the dredge line going to be used, looking to isolate out Exony and get the kill onto Reborn. So UST able to get something over on the bottom side thanks to Robert Bobbert.
Robert Bobbert. See if he can continue with that path, because he does have the next Destiny Gate coming up relatively soon. And now, Exathy does see that he's going to be getting pushed off of this play, but in the mid lane, Kitsuo,
Ooh, onslaught of shadows going right after Afters, but Afters is gonna be the one who brings the fight to him. Here comes Reborn with the stand united. Robbie Bob able to get the gold card in, still able to get a good amount of damage, but has to flash away. Gold card lands. It's gonna be the disengage. A sidestep coming out. Reborn almost able to get the taunt there. Another gold card looking to find Reborn. Reborn doesn't have much left when it comes to the cooldowns, but he does have a lot when it comes to friends, as hopping over is gonna be clueless, gets the backup and takes them both down. 2 kills going over to last resistance.
Again, this is very typical of the way that UST likes to play. They're good, they know they're good, and so they end up going for a lot of these plays that look a little bit questionable because they think they can outplay it. And it, again, reminds me a whole lot of the way that Wildcard Red was playing. They would find themselves in really awkward positions. They would take a lot of these fights and they wouldn't win all of them. But now, Last Resistance, they have a small lead as we start looking at the next dragon. They have the Rift Herald. They're not giving up any advantages at this point. And if we look at where the gold for UST is and where they're going to try and find something, it is, as we said, Robbie Bob, 5-2-2 on this Twisted Fate, opting to go with the Everfrost as well. So he's not going to have the same kind of damage reduction that would come through in order to try and keep himself from Talon. He knows he needs to be the one doing the damage.
Now with Drake up. Last resistance posturing into this area. Dev Reborn setting up some wards, going deep here, looking for Robbie Bob. Afters will follow, looking to find the taunt. Snare goes through. Taunt gonna be free. Attention onto Robert. It is gonna be easy. Afters gets the kill. We'll get that killing spree, take him down. At the same time, they're postured up for the Drake.
UST do have an extra member down here, so they're going to be sending Trevor up to at least spot out what's going on, but they're not going to be going for a full contest because Kitsuo on the opposite side of the map. And okay, Porsche also struggling in this lane like we were calling out before. Oh, they are contesting.
Oh, here comes the curtain call. Opens up and starts firing. It's going to be one down, though. Robbie Bob still down. Reborn falls in the process, but now Robbie Bob back up. Does have Destiny Gate. We'll have the teleport soon. Be a chem fog. Billows.
So trying to find something, but this is not a great map, and once again it feels like Last Resistance are being the beneficiaries of the way that these rifts have actually shaken up. The Mountain Soul was great earlier, now Exathy.
Going right after Exathy. Able to get the shield in. Here comes backup. Stand United. Able to get more members in is going to be Last Resistance as they turn this engage around, turn this team fight around, take down Trevor. They're going to look for Texas now. It's not going to be too far. Goes for the shot. King Clueless will be able to grab it. Katsuo still in the area. Going to look to take it to Reborn. A couple of whacks in as he starts to back off, but Afters is around. Will be able to throw out that Q. Katsuo might have bitten off more than he can chew once again. There is the snare, and Katsuo, not sure why he opted into fighting that one, but he will go down in the process. More swings of gold going over to Last Resistance.
Last Resistance again making a play out of what looked like UST's play previously. Robbie is going to be moving up towards the top side in order to try and cut off Elated. We did have a rough last game.
Gold card goes in, going after Elated. Elated having a good game this time. It's going to be a good chunk of gold going back over towards the squad as a shutdown is pocketed by Porsche.
Feels like silver linings at this point, SRX. They're still just looking for ways to recoup what they were losing earlier. And Kitsuo doing his best Elated impression from the previous game. 0-5-3 needs 2 more deaths in order to catch up to that record. But it doesn't feel like a situation where they're necessarily taking these calculated fights. And we were saying that this mid game likely going to be determining which team is actually going to have a AD carry that is going to be relevant during a lot of these team fights. And so far, it's looking like it's going to be Exathy before Texas is able to build up those items, because Texas, even once they have the Kraken Slayer, still need another item on top of that before we can even say that they're going to be doing relevant damage.
Yeah, Texas will not be a big player in this game for a bit. And it's something that's going to hurt UST for a while, as Last Resistance, they've been pushing down the gas pedal. They've been the one to make the plays, and they've been countering the plays of UST quite beautifully. UST keep thinking they can get something on the back end of it, and they're not able to. They stay way longer than they should. They end up giving up way more bodies than they should. Now it's putting a situation where Last Resistance have priority onto this Drake, have priority on this bottom lane, and they're going to go for another dive. Reborn grabbing the tower aggro, but chooses to back off instead. They see Katsuo in the area, not safe enough to go for this dive.
I will say one of the things that UST does when they do have this kind of play style is, in order to play it, you have to be feeling good, right? It's a morale thing that allows you to continue playing this way. If you're worried that you're not going to be able to make these plays, you don't go for them. And so the fact that UST is still going for a lot of these aggressive 1v1s, 2v2s, says to me that they are still very confident about their ability to continue playing this game. And to their credit, they're not down that far. They're only down about 3,000 gold at the 15-minute mark, which means that, you know, the upcoming Dragon fight, if they can complete their mythics onto Porsche and Kitsuo, should be very fightable.
Yeah, this is still a winnable game for UST. They haven't been condemned just yet, and Texas is going to be able to grab a tower into the bottom lane, so getting an influx of gold to himself. As you said, it's still going to be a while before he does come online, but it's going to be well welcomed given the scenario that UST are in.
So we have to pay attention to where the gold is coming, and also note that Elated has enough of a lead at this point that he can start to take away the jungle camps, as we're already seeing, just because Kitsuo is not able to come up. And even if they brought him, Elated would probably be able to walk away just because of the relatively low damage that Kitsuo and Porsche have at this point in the game. But 50 seconds left on the Dragon timer does mean that we do gotta get people to go back and spend their gold so that they have items for the upcoming fight. You have a couple seconds left to get that in, but looking at how people are moving right now, it doesn't look that either Porsche or Kitsuo are likely going to be able to get their mythic before the upcoming Dragon.
Robbie was able to finish off his rapid fire in time, so gonna have that if they need to find at least some sort of disengage with the gold card at long range. But the rest of UST are gonna back off and just take the scuttle for the time being. 20 seconds before the Drake does hit the map. And UST kind of split on this one. Reborn goes over the wall. So does King Clueless. But the depth charge is able to lock him down and shut him down. Kitsuo will grab that kill. Elated now over the wall. Will get caught out by a gold card. Here comes the ace in the hole. Haymaker going to block a lot of that as the onslaught of shadows goes for the back line. Going to get caught out as Robbie, but he's able to get a gold card in, get the stun in, and now playing very carefully as UST. Health bars are getting lower and lower. Here comes another gold card. Able to find the hook onto Elated, so have to back off. Trevor unfortunately hitting a minion there. Another gold card prime as Robbie tries to find someone to land it onto, throws it out, gets it onto Elated, backs off towards the tower. UST just barely able to take the team fight win, but it's been lasting so long that King Clueless is back up. UST aware of this, Last Resistance aware of this, and they're going for the re-engage. Here comes Kitsuo. He's caught out as he gets snared. Xthany is playing beautifully as he's able to position onto the back line, not get caught out. Texas will land some autos in, but now Isolated is gonna be Robbie. Slain is gonna be Robbie. Retreat for UST as they lose their ADC as well. Both carries down. UST flounder.
What's absolutely insane about that fight was Texas was able to free hit the entire time until he ended up going down, and it didn't matter. Caitlyn's not relevant just quite yet. Last Resistance was able to capitalize on the fact that UST committed 1, 2, 3, 4 ultimates in order to kill King Clueless the first time, and they didn't have anything left in the tank to go for the second fight. Their composition is so ultimate reliant that they have to focus on making sure that they catch multiple members, and even though they pick up the jungler, get a little bit of gold, they end up giving it right on back because they weren't able to instantly burst down the dragon the second time. And UST now one dragon away from giving over a Chemtech soul, which a lot of people are saying is the strongest soul in the entire game.
This is brutal. UST trying so hard to find these engages, trying so hard to find these fights, and it looks so hopeful in that last one, Joshi. They were able to get a kill, but the delay that came out of Last Resistance, buying time, really wearing out those resources from UST and getting in that chip damage time and time again. UST now on the back foot, really suffering more than the 3K they had just a couple of minutes ago, now coming over to 4K deficit. While the bleeding's bad, it is not completely over just yet. They still have a fighting chance to get back into this, and you can see they're trying to work the map to get that chance to come alive. You have Robbie over in the top lane, Katsuo waiting in the wings, looking for someone to get isolated, looking for someone they can engage in, and Katsuo might try and find the engage right now. Instead, just going to hit the tower. Excuse me, here comes the Stand United as they're just going to go straight for the top lane. Teleport's coming in. King Clueless is going to be able to take down Kitsuo in the process as Force is going to use the unstoppable force, but there's 3 members standing who want a piece of Robbie. Trevor going to try and protect him as well, but walking up right now is going to be Exathy. Exathy fires, opens up the curtain call. Robbie is going to fall. Here come more bullets coming through and more bodies hitting the floor. If you are UST, no more are they on the Rift. A double kill for King Clueless, and only Texas remains as Last Resistance dominate the map.
This is the problem we were saying. There's just not enough damage on UST to get anything done. They have to punch through Set and Shen and, you know, Karma Shields, and they're just not able to do it. And we were seeing that King Clueless right before that fight, 5-5-5. Now 8-5-6 coming through. Big play this entire time, and he recognizes he has to play to bust some of these tanks himself, but he's shifting over his build instead of going for a pure Prowler's Claw and just straight lethality build, also going for the the Black Cleaver in order to shred some of the armor so that not only he can be more effective, but also elated in Exathy.
This is so good for Last Resistance, standing in prime position now to try and close out this game. They have handled aggressive team composition so well, handling fighting into them. UST, they tried their hardest to be able to get some of these fights. It's always on UST's go that these fights are initiated on, and it's always Last Resistance who are able to respond to them. We're seeing glimmers of that right now as King Clueless focusing on the jungle side, Exathy and Reborn focusing over in the mid lane as King Clueless will continue to chase them down. Here comes the ace in the hole. He will take it in stride and continue his chase. Out comes the Deadly Flourish, unable to find too much. Robbie holding the gold card, has the rapid fire over the wall onto Exathy. Exathy will get stunned up, but there is going to be a pause from Elated.
And the rest of us are just kind of along for the ride, and that's definitely the way that all of UST played this game.
Who's his friend, Josh? Call him out right now. Call him out on stream. Let's hear it.
Austin.
Austin?
You know who you
Is
are.
it Visions?
Nah, different Austin.
I was ready to call him out right now. But all right. Getting back into the game as the pause is done. Elated is back. Yeah, rough spot for UST. Taking a look at their composition, they just don't really have the damage you were talking about. Texas is not in a prime position. Robbie does control the mid game, but the mid game is coming to a close, and Bobby's effect is diminishing greatly.
In different ways can we call Robbie Bob different things at this point?
Rob Bobby.
See what else? Robbie Bobby. Robbie Bobbert. Robert Bobbert.
Bobby Rob.
Bobby Rob.
Robert.
It's a great name, honestly.
I have to think about it every time I say it out loud because I'm afraid of saying like one of the, I don't know, one of the other versions of it, I guess. I don't know why. I should just accept it.
Ribbert Bibbert?
Yeah. Ribbert Bibbert?
I don't know. That sounds like a frog, right?
I want him on Kench. If he's playing Kench, that's what we're going to call him. That day ever does come, but Trevor is looking for an engage right here, and so is the rest of UST. I'm going to go after Exathy. Exathy will be able to get the snare as the tower goes down over in the bot lane, getting that tier 2. Now backing off is going to be Elated, who is definitely elated to have the game he's had so far.
Texas.
And now here we go, coming from the wings, going on to Trevor. Elated shows up big with that engage and smashes Texas's face. 2 going down for UST as Last Resistance continue to try and put on that momentum. A gold card coming out of Robbie Bob as he's on the run now. Curtain call opens up, looking to dodge, but he can't dodge the autos. A King Clueless shoved into the walls. Kutsua as King Clueless grabs another one. Porsche forced to walk away as Last Resistance continue to win every single fight they're in.
Everything's bigger in Texas. In this case, even the punches, as we see Elated able to take him down without a whole lot of contest. And the problem here for UST is not only are they giving up the Dragon Soul, you know, the Chemtech Soul, which allows them to all have a Scion passive, but they also are giving up multiple structures at the same time. Reform probably going to be going down here, but oh my god, he doesn't even go down when all is said and done. They're going to be able to walk away after picking up 2 structures and the Dragon.
And looking to just try and sweep them out of their base is going to be UST as Trevor with just the chase. You got to keep a close eye on King Clueless, though. He's coming in the flanks right now. UST aren't careful. King Clueless is just going to hop right onto Texas, and that is going to be the case right here as King Clueless, Texas clueless to his arrival, will take him down in 2. Going down, Last Resistance are just picking him up and looking for more. Hopping forward is going to be King Clueless. He now has a bit of an inside track onto Robbie Bub, who's able to gold card him, runs underneath his tower, but King Clueless wants more, and it is done. Oh my goodness, the morale defeated, and so is UST.
Sports anymore as last resistance going to be loading on. They've gone with a 5-man invade towards one side of the map, both times that we've seen them so far. I wonder if they're going to go for the same thing.
See, I'm waiting for it. Come on, let's get the 5-man invade. They're done with the games. They got to take it seriously. They know it's match point, and they have a realistic chance of getting a 2-0 against UST, which would definitely be an upset in a lot of people's eyes.
As they start to move around. Double Airy coming through. Now, this is something that's become a little bit more popular on Syndra, especially in the age of the Crown of the Shattered Queen, just because you're able to poke them a little bit more. You're not going to be as reliant on the early burst that your champions are going to typically go for. Instead, you're going to be a little bit more focused on chipping them down a little bit over time. And I really like this coming out from Afters, recognizing that he's just going to need to play a little bit of a longer style of game than Syndra's of the past used to.
I don't know. I don't think he can.
You don't know?
I feel like UST are going to just try and get into his face once again. He's going to be forced to play fast. I feel like he's the type of player who just wants to take it slow, but the world won't let him, Josh. The world won't let him.
Okay, Eric. Well, we'll talk about this fight here in just a second, but there is a Lethal Temple Lulu in the game being played by Texas.
At this point, you know, just go back a few seasons. Let's grab Madrid's Razor. Let's get a Blade of the Rune King. Yeah. I just want Machine Gun Lulu back, Josh.
That is definitely a choice that I have never seen, and it seems very, very aggressive to be going for this and really trying to brawl out in these early trades. And, you know, we saw a little hint of that as Trevor and Texas were going for a level 1 fight previously. I wonder if that's something they're going to continue doing as I start getting towards level 2, because it is a very unusual rune choice. I don't believe I've ever seen it taken, and I'm going to go take a look and see what our good friend the internet has to say on the topic.
I mean, it's Lulu. Lulu does have on-hit capabilities. You're against Desona, who is very squishy. You can get a lot of that damage in quite quickly, a lot of that harassment. Still got Hell Pix, which provides the shield, so... I do see the realistic application, at least in this lane, but I'm kind of curious too, Josh. You gotta forward us this research.
Okay, here's what we're pulling out, right? So, right. Airy, 100,000 plays. Guardian, 47,000 plays. Lethal Tempo, 116. Okay, so it's something that is not particularly pioneered, but it will allow them to have a little bit more damage because Lulu's autos hit like a brick early game, and it's something that will allow Lulu to have a little bit more damage at the cost of a bit more utility later on.
But here we go. King Clueless now setting up for a dive in the bottom lane. The zap going to land onto Trevor. Trevor starts to back off. Texas going to try and provide some backup as the teleport comes in. Katsuo is going to be able to walk in as well. Looking to get the audacious charge. Finds it. Goes after Exony. Can't get the knockup. Looking for Clueless. Now first blood to Porsche and his teleport as the rest of Last Resistance try and get some fighting, but you don't want to mess with Texas.
Lethal Temple.
Down. Lethal Temple Lulu is here, baby.
Oh, man. Coming through. That was a huge play.
Oh, he's not done.
That they won.
He's not done. God. Lethal Temple Lulu once more. She thirsty for blood. It's going to be the second kill picked up here. 3-0 UST starting early, just 3 minutes into the game.
And 2 of those kills going over to Texas, man. This is absolutely nuts. And crucially, Porsche also picked up double buffs in that fight. So they are coming out really, really far ahead. And like you said, don't mess with Texas. He's got the Lethal Tempo, just auto-attacking fools left to death. Right and left to death. There we go. Putting it all together at the very end. And those 2 kills going over it suddenly means that Texas and Trevor suddenly have a realistic bridge in order to get towards the later stages where Haley can start to take over the game.
Attack speed boots, Josh. Attack speed boots. We're committing to this.
God.
We're absolutely committing to this. This is going to be the Machine Gun Lulu right here and right now.
This is a strat I haven't seen in years. The Madrid's Blood Razor, like you called out earlier. I remember the very first time I saw an on-hit Lulu, I was playing Cho'Gath and my friend was playing Shen. We were like, oh, it's just a Lulu. Let's run it down. And then they auto-attacked us both to death, and I was just like, what is happening here? So now Texas is trying to do the same thing.
Focusing on to Robbie. They will get the scatter of the week, but King Clueless not able to get the stun. Robbie will be able to get out okay, not burning his flash, not burning any critical resources as King Clueless heads over towards the top side now.
Okay. And this time we're also seeing Kitsuo not falling behind in farm up against King Clueless. The fact that King Clueless died previously is a little bit rough in terms of his ability to just stay on the map and farm, but now Kitsuo a little bit ahead, about half a camp at this point, and it is going to mean that both junglers are going to be topside at about the same time as TC Porsche is crashing a very large wave.
Wave gonna hit into the tower as Katsuo. Not Katsuo, excuse me, King Clueless. I'm just mixing up all the members today, Josh. What is going on here? King Clueless kind of posturing over towards this spot, but unable to provide the pressure needed to really back up Elated. And that's okay. Elated is going to be fine just staying under his tower and trying to play defensively here.
I'm so curious about how this Lulu is going to be playing. Because I'm going to be honest, I have never seen this.
I've already seen it, Josh.
116 plays and Platinum Plus, according to Lolalytics, which means that most of you haven't seen it either, at least not in the support role. And with the Berserker's Greaves coming through, it is very aggressive, and we end up missing a kill, probably because Texas just hits like a brick.
What happened? I really want to know right now. Texas is beasting, and so is Trevor over in this bot lane. We're actually going to back it up a little bit so we can see the exchange going off here. Trevor, so low, but the help pick so clutch at the same time. Texas and Trevor winning that. But now it is not over. We're getting the repeat. King Clueless shows up to the bot lane, but he can't get close enough. He doesn't want to mix with Texas, Josh.
He doesn't want to. And we were saying that Texas probably contributed a lot to that kill, and he contributed, but it was mostly just the shield. That was almost entirely Trevor doing it on his own. And now Texas and Kitsuo going to be hitting this dragon together as they are going to be taking it down completely uncontested. UST jumping out to a very early lead and a very significant one as TC Porsche continuing to kind of bully around Elated even now after his double buffs have expired. Still going to be in firm control of top lane and likely going to remain that way for a long period of time.
And with the play that we saw in game number 1, this puts a lot of hope towards UST because UST were the active ones. They were the ones who were constantly engaging those plays. Now they're going to be engaging those with a gold lead as Texas just walks into the face of the bot lane, zones them off the minion wave by himself, taking it in stride.
Takes a lot of HP for it, though. Going to be in a bit of a rougher spot. They should be able to crash this, but Kitsu will come in mid.
On to Afters. Robbie going to throw out the ultimate, but the unleashed power too strong. Afters will fall. Katsuo gets the knockback onto Clueless, but getting chased by Elated. Elated will take him down. Flash burnt by Clueless. But ultimately the trade going to be a 1-for-2 exchange in favor of Last Resistance.
Respecting the Shen ultimate, they were able to pick it up. It does go over to Robbie, which is convenient, but he doesn't even have a lost chapter at this point because he's, behind in CS. And TC Porsche is probably going to be the main recipient of the benefit off this. Trevor and Texas. Leave them alone, guys.
They're so aggro right now, but Texas is a stand your ground state, and that is what this lane has become right now as Texas and Trevor continue applying that forward momentum, looking to lay claim to that tower.
Not sure that was standing your ground when you're continuing to go forward, though. So we'll see if
he's a landowner.
Can do anything. Yeah.
All
the bottom lane is his land at this point.
Yeah.
We'll see what else they can do. They're not going to be taking
south.
another
It's Texas.
Don't mess with Texas. All right. Trevor stopped once again at this point as tries to get that back off, and it does mean that they are going to be jumping out. They are currently up a pickaxe based on how they were playing earlier, and Robbie Bob also getting a little bit of money off of that first strike he has opted to go for. We'll have to pay attention to where Reborn wants to go, because King Clueless and Kitsuo are about to run into each other.
Ooh, Kitsuo not realizing that he walked into a bush. That Last Resistance we're well aware of. He does a pretty good fight, but not going to be well enough as Afters will pick up that kill. Go back to lane.
Thought he had Robbie Bob in reserve, and he did, as Elated might have DC'd.
We're seeing this once again. Here comes Texas chasing down the game. The pause now done.
He's gone.
There's the answer. Easy kill picked up right there. Trevor and Texas. Reign of terror in the bot lane as they take another plate.
Yeah, Elated did not have the ultimate available. Not going to be able to join that one with no teleport. And so Texas and Trevor like you said, going to be continuing to expand this lead. Texas doing a lot of damage to this structure basically by himself right now, and we are going to be seeing Trevor and Texas back away. Trevor completely out of. They swap roles, guys. I know this isn't news to any of us at this point, but it is still a thing where it's like, oh yeah, they're not playing in the same spot. Why did they
Yeah.
swap roles? I have no idea.
And yet I'm the one who thought Robbie was in the ADC role suddenly.
Yeah, maybe someday we'll get to see. I wonder if the Tom Kench hover was just for us.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice. You
It
know,
would be
they
nice.
got to commit to it, but unfortunately, this isn't the game to commit to it, given that they are behind in match point.
Mhm.
Still got to clean that one out. Still got to get that dub. Still got to get that victory in UST. On a pretty prime track for it so far, looking at the game state 10 minutes into this. A 2K lead for UST as pretty much all their lanes stand pretty strongly ahead. The only one that's slipping up right now, Katsuo, struggling to find his games.
But he's not that far behind as we are seeing the gold. He's only, a couple camps behind at this point. The biggest person who's kind of been struggling is Robbie Bob, but that's because 2 kills have already gone over to afters as Trevor and Texas and Kitsuo. And we're looking to dive.
Seen this story before, seen it one too many times, Zexathy as he backs off right away, but here comes the team fight engage. Crescendo goes out, able to land it onto 2, and they're going to get some vengeance onto Texas. Texas left by his lonesome. One more auto to finish him off. It's going to be shut down, picked up by Elated, but a 1-for-1 trade as falling down is going to be King Clueless. Now Robbie goes after afters as Exathy is able to get the Super Mega Death Rock to take down one. Robbie flashes forward, barely able to get the kill onto afters over the wall. Here comes the Piltover Peacemaker, but will not score the shot. Exathy and Trevor on opposite sides draw a line in the sand and head back to their lanes.
That was a 4v5. TC Porsche wasn't there at all for the fight, and UST are the ones who are going to be coming out with more kills than Last Resistance. Trevor, just super, super strong, willing to switch targets over and over, allows them to come out to a big lead, and crucially, Last Resistance are a little bit more ult-reliant than University of St. Thomas, and that does mean that UST going to be sending Kitsuo directly towards this dragon. It's going to be very difficult for Last Resistance to contest.
And King Clueless has been putting so much attention down here in the bottom lane, and it's been amounting to pretty much nothing as he sets up again just to get some priority to be able to let Exathy to clear this out so they can get some priority towards this Drake. Going to put down the Rift Herald, but the Drake has already been started by UST. 4 members strong is going to be UST as they stand in that area. A couple of autos coming out of Trevor as he postures up forward, looking to lead the crew into this team fight. Here comes Porsche off the teleport, goes after Reborn. Will not be able to grab him just yet, but Trevor's able to finish up the job. Exathy tries to run away, but Texas will take him down. UST pick up 2 unanswered as well as grabbing the Drake.
They're also going to be able to save this bottom lane turret as well, so Elated going to be getting some damage here on the top side of the map, but he's not going to be able to get a whole lot off this structure by going with this Bomby Cinder build. Not going to be doing as much damage to these structures, and now Texas, he's just hopping around and shifting over as well to a very different build. Yes, he's got the Berserker's Greaves in order to play towards the lethal tempo, but it looks like he's also going to be picking up the Chemtech Putrefier to cut a lot of the healing coming out of both Sona and Diego.
Ooh. Not aware that bush was warded. Unleashed Power comes out.
He's alive?
King Clueless is there. Somehow Texas tanks up so much damage, but so much time left to finish off that health bar. Able to pick that up is going to be Last Resistance. So Texas goes down. Last Resistance now trying to get their footing onto the map as they start invading the jungle of UST.
Okay. On the other side, though, Porsche already taking away the Gromp. Going to be making it very difficult for Elay to do anything. The shoe is definitely on the other foot for this game in the top lane based on how this matchup has gone. But we're also seeing another structure should be going down here for UST as Last Resistance has multiple members clearing it out and just daring anybody to try and walk up and defend it.
UST going to be the wiser. We've seen in game number 1, Last Resistance try and pull off this play. Pulled it off a couple of times, and they're going to pull it off again, as taking the bait is going to be Robin Bobadin. Shut down coming in, going over as a fight breaks out in the mid lane. Trevor will get a 1v1 against Exathy.
Oh boy, it was so close on the other side of the map too. Robbie Bob with the first strike, almost able to burst out the Cinder, but another interesting choice coming through, avoiding the Crown of the Shattered Queen once again, going for the Everfrost on this Victor, and ultimately not necessarily going to be the worst thing in the world, right? Because the rest of his team is so far ahead in terms of their ability to pick up all these structures, jumping out to a 5,000 gold lead. And even though Caitlyn, normally not that strong at this point in the game, is so far ahead in gold that it doesn't matter that his items aren't necessarily going to be quite as strong.
Ooh, over the wall, going after King Clueless. Katsuo tries to find the chase, unable to get too much, but gonna be able to use the guard to block all the damage coming in. But now the re-engage comes out of Last Resistance as they set their sights onto Katsuo. It's gonna be a trade so far. Actually, trade doesn't even go through. More kills to follow. A 2-for-1 now as UST begin to bail out, but they claimed Elated. They claimed King Clueless in the process.
Say that 5 times fast, but yeah, Trevor just able to completely free hit. We're seeing the strength come through, but we're also starting to see glimpses of what it is that Last Resistance composition will do if the Sona is allowed to have another 20 minutes of gameplay. At the same time, though, UST, they're taking fights with fewer members a lot of the time. Not necessarily undermanned there, but just a situation where Robbie Bob was not there, nor could he have been. Whereas all the members of Last Resistance could be there, and UST going to be coming out with 2 kills to 1. And now, again, we got to pay attention to what the ultimate cooldowns are going to be looking like for the upcoming Dragon, and it looks like everybody's going to have everything available. The only summoners that might be missing are going to be After's Flash.
And now, UST also able to grab the Rift Herald, so they're going to have that to utilize if they want to apply some artificial pressure elsewhere. Well, they do challenge this Drake. That is going on to Porsche. She doesn't have the teleport available, keep in mind. So unable to do something too cross-mappy, but UST do have a pretty strong gold lead. Given the state of the game, 16 minutes in, we have about 6K separating these teams. UST so strong, a lot of that gold allocated onto Trevor, good chunk of that allocated onto Porsche as well. And always got to keep in mind Texas and that lethal tempo that he's been pulling out. He has been doing quite well in that laning phase, able to reflect that into the other sides.
He's got a Noon Quiver.
Oh my god.
Chemtech, Putrefier, and Noon Quiver, and now TC Porsche going to be running down afters. No flash.
We're going to see that build come together. Look at those autos go through. Texas claims another one. 4-2-7. The Lulu is big, Josh, given how small she is.
Okay, now they're going to be dropping the Rift Herald as well. 20 seconds before the Dragon spawns means that this turret's going to fall, and then the Dragon should be going over to UST in a polar opposite of what we were seeing in the last game. UST just snowballing this out of control based on some of the early plays. And Texas, yeah.
It's the support does not care. This Yordle's got a big heart and bravery like you've never seen. Now going forward, looking to find more on this tower dive, setting for this tier 2. Elated is caught. He is locked down, has to burn the flash to be able to get away. Trevor waiting in the wings, Texas waiting in the wings. As a shot comes out, the Zap's going to find the slow onto Texas to get he's going to eat a crescendo as well as a scatter of the weak and stay alive in the process. The tower falls and UST walk right on out.
My god, Texas still alive. The red buff should be able to heal him up as well. Provide a lot of buffs over the side of the wall. And look at this, another Dragon, multiple turrets going down in favor of UST. They are 9,000 gold ahead. And it also makes you kind of wonder, with this kind of almost insurmountable lead coming in for UST, we saw the first surrender I've seen in eons. In the last game as UST gave it up to Last Resistance. At what point, like now that that barrier has been broken, at what point do you start thinking about throwing in the towel and saying, hey, this one didn't go in our favor, maybe we'll have better luck in game 3?
I have no idea. I have no idea if Last Resistance is even a team that's willing to do that. They seem willing to fight on the back foot. They seem willing to fight on the reactive in any situation. We'll have to see as Porsche is going to take an engage onto Elated. Elated doing decently in this game so far. He's going to start to suffer as Porsche just has a strong lead and can cleave through that health bar.
It'd be very difficult for Last Resistance, right? We were saying this Shen could be attackable in a previous situation, and now, oh god, Texas, bang, bang, bang.
Texas and Trevor together. My goodness, the artillery that comes out. The rapid fire from both of those, both Trevor and Texas, able to land in autos in quick succession. Now going to focus onto this tower with the aid of Porsche. and just wailing away. There's nothing Reborn or Exathy can really do about this. Get too close, and you're going to be caught out by one of those glitter lances slowed, and Porsche will take you down as another tower falls in the mid lane. UST are claiming it on all fronts, and Last Resistance are trying so hard to figure out a battle plan. They see a chance here as they start going after Katsuo, but Trevor's going to land in some autos, chunking away with those crits. A good chunk of health comes back, but look at the inhibitor as the crescendo comes out. They're going to set their sights onto Texas. Texas will fall. Now continuing forward, looking to find Trevor, but they have to back off as the inhibitor is falling in the bot lane. Porsche is able to grab that. He is now in a 4v1 scenario, but he has backup on the wings. Katsuo and Trevor just waiting to join. They'll be able to get into this fight. Trevor getting the autos in as Katsuo dives deep. Porsche will dive deeper. One kill goes in. They're able to grab Clueless as Reborn starts to back off. It's going to be a double picked up by Trevor. Ace in the hole rings through. 200 health remains on Reborn, but the Scout of the Week is going to stop Katsuo as UST behind enemy lines will continue to take structures.
All 3 inhibitor turrets going down, maybe all 3 inhibitors as well, depending on how bold UST is feeling, because Robbie Bob this entire time has just been wailing away on structures uncontested. Now, finally, your board comes over, and that might be enough to convince Robbie to leave, and it is, but 2 inhibitors are down. They're still going to be down when the next dragon spawns. They're going to be down when UST tries to take over these Baron, and UST, they have to remind themselves that yes, they are winning this game really hard, but this isn't the only one. They know they have a lot more League of Legends left to play in this series, and if they win, again, they have to play the winner of Team Lawrence and Glaive Esports Prime.
Tough game so far for Last Resistance. Do have Elated in the bot lane who's going to be able to deal with that super minion wave. It is going to suck for him, but he has Stand United. He has Teleport available. He can get to a fight if Last Resistance need him to be there at any given second. And that is going to be a case quite soon because Baron is on the table. You have Drake's Soul that's going to come up within the next minute and 50 seconds. There is a lot Last Resistance have to pivot around, have to run around, have to establish before they can take an outright fight with UST.
I don't know if they're going to be able to do it, right? Again, it is a reversal of fortunes. The tables have turned. The turns have tabled. And as they start to move around the Baron, they just know that there's like no vision here for Last Resistance at all. They're checking with the Jinx rocket and not going to be anywhere close to trying to steal it away. And it is so hopeless to try and contest this Baron that you're actually seeing King Clueless clearing out the wolves of his opponents before trying to back away. And Last Resistance, I'm kind of curious how they're going to put up some Last Resistance in this game.
Kraken Slayer.
Kraken Slayer, Lulu. It's looking a little hopeless.
Kraken Slayer finished by Texas. I love it. I absolutely love it. This is throwing me back so far, Josh, and it's making me so happy in the process as UST. This is what happens when you put up that type of performance, when you're able to get kills that early, when you're able to apply pressure that ruthless. You can go whatever build you want and become that support carry. I'm the ADC now. Screw the Caitlyn.
Okay, now they're going to be trying to push in. The only question is how cleanly are they going to be able to clean this up, or are they going to wait for the Ocean Dragon Soul to spawn here in a moment? And the answer is Elate is caught out.
Ooh, Reborn takes a huge chunk of damage. Ace in the hole comes out. It's going to be blocked by Afters, but Afters taking a third of his health, just being able to block that one. And now here comes the rest of UST, leading in the minions. Getting low is Elated, has to back off, but Trevor will not let him. They want to find another. King Clueless tries to walk away. Here comes the Unleashed Power in the crescendo. It's not enough to take down Katsuo. Both Nexus towers are down. King Clueless dives deep and one last stand. He can stand no more, and neither can the rest of Last Resistance, as this is gonna be a series, Josh. Enough of that. We got the action on the Rift ready to hit. University of St. Thomas, Last Resistance. Final game to decide who heads to the finals.
It's gonna be Texas once again playing, something a little bit unusual. He's gonna be the one that's actually gonna be pulling out the Lysandra in the support role.
Where's the lethal tempo, though?
Oh, true. Only got Aftershock this time.
As expected.
You say expected. It's still Lysandra support, right? Okay, Reborn, hopping the wall. A little bit dangerous now that he doesn't have any abilities. Luckily for him, there's not that many people here, and Robbie Bob doesn't seem any the wiser as to where this guy actually is. You see him backing up pretty extensively. He knows that this idea is possible. He just doesn't know it's happening.
Robbie
dodge.
Bob just barely able to dodge away. Getting kind of blocked a little bit by some of the pathing there. Robbie hitting even lower. Ignite goes off. They're going to go for the final auto. First blood to Exathy. That dive works somehow. They get Robbie Bob.
Great max range fear coming out from Afters. Just barely catching him, and it means that Robbie Bob is in a really awkward spot. Had to flash a little bit earlier in order to dodge the fear. And now you see how hesitant UST are in actually moving up and trying to make sure that they can secure their red buff, but little do they know, or I guess now they know, there's nobody left here from Last Resistance. The only thing that they're really going to have to worry about is the fact that Exathic is going to be coming into the bottom lane with an extra tier, continuing to reduce the mana problems that Ziggs in the bottom lane sometimes has.
That was so surprising. Once Reborn miss the knockup, I thought that was it. You know, Robbie gets out. It's a very casual play, but yeah, that max range fear, beautiful after coming out of Afters. Robbie falling behind early, setting the stage for this game for Last Resistance, able to get some early momentum and stifle Robbie Bob from gathering an early lead.
I do want to say, like, if Robbie Bob was playing a melee champion there, he definitely lives, but because he's playing Victor, a little slow, right? Not able to walk out of the fear circle, and it does mean ends up going down. But TC Porsche now trading up against Elated up in the top lane. You know, both of these characters very, very volatile, and this is a very, you know, exciting matchup over and over again. Just because both of them are always going to be going for these big fights, and if one of them finds a big lead, could be a really big opportunity.
It's a little bit of a flip of a coin on who's going to come out ahead. It's just that gold lead. Who's ever able to grab it, who's ever able to get some sort of advantage in this top side. It's where it tends to head towards. There's now some attention put onto the mid lane. King Clueless. He knows Robbie doesn't have a flash. It was Burn earlier. Gets an easy gank over in the mid lane.
We also have to pay attention to one of the, you know, another quote. I remember who gave me the other one about, like, the whole meta champions. As we see them going to be backing away, is it's Draxer, coach and sometimes top laner for a couple of different teams. The other great quote he has is, okay, are we done? I think we're done. Is if the only champion that counters you is Fiora, you're a pretty darn good champion. And Fiora is not something that has been seeing a lot of play outside of in this exact matchup. And it just means that Camille is super, super useful pretty much across the entire game. And the only reason why this is good is because the lane matchup is good enough for Fiora that Camille doesn't just get to run you over in the entire game.
But if she gets that lead, she can. The scary thing about those matchups when it comes to Camille and Fiora. But looking at the mid lane, Katsuo looking to find a gank onto After, splashes forward, unable to get it. Here comes the teleport as the fear comes out onto Katsuo. Now back up as Clueless will join. Able to get the knock. It's quite a bit of damage. Katsuo does not have his flash, but does not need it. No more tools to close the distance onto him. The rest of Last Resistance just going to chase him back into his jungle.
Two different people also now threatening to consistently go into mid lane, and Robbie still has no mana, right? Afters doesn't have a whole lot of mana either, and with neither of them having their teleport available, it's really going to matter who is able to get this recall off, and it looks like it's going to be Afters. Never mind, he ends up canceling it. Both of them are just going to kind of struggle to actually get this wave underneath the turret because they aren't clearing out the entire wave with any of their abilities, and they're desperately just trying to get it underneath the enemy turret so they can end up backing. And it does look like Afters is going to be the one able to do that first.
Afters having enough mana to at least pop two of them. Now we'll take the recall. Be able to back off. Robbie already burnt his teleport to get back into the lane. It's the same thing for Afters. So we'll have to walk, but the lane will be neutral by that point.
I'm really curious what abilities Texas is maxing. And we can't really see it because of the way that the overlay is set up, but now they're fighting.
Ooh, Texas getting caught out. Puts the claw forward, tries to get some more damage onto Reborn, but Reborn will fall and be able to stay alive as Trevor gets slain by King Clueless. King Clueless wants to make it a 2-for-1 deal, goes after Texas. Exathy there, tried to pick it up, but won't be able to get it. The tower finishes the job. King Clueless gets 2.
And also trying to maintain his kill leader spot, right? I think he just crested 60 at this point, as observers pointing out that there are 4 minion kills coming out from Texas. I'm not sure if that is as interesting as they might be thinking it is, but I respect
Mhm.
the attempt. But the other big thing is now King Clueless 3-0 on the Hecarim, going to be very, very accelerated. And one of the things that this champion does do when you get ahead is kills people, right? You get the Predator, you get this Sheen item, Trinity Force or Divine Sunder, you just run everything over. And King Clueless can be the first one to pick up this dragon and going to help them out in terms of the damage to do. And the Hex Tech to follow it up as well.
All right, we got your info in now, Joshi. Texas is maxing Q first, so this is gonna really shove in the wave. It's really gonna It's really gonna try and max Exithy and Reborn's ability to shove their wave as well.
Hmm. Interesting, because I mean, you saw that the champion isn't really doing a whole lot of damage just quite yet. And I guess you don't pick Lysandra ever for the damage that you do. It's mostly about the crowd control that you are able to provide. But I'm kind of curious how they're going to be able to play this going forward, especially now that they are a little bit behind. They are shifting a little bit over towards more of a pick composition. You need to catch people out individually. It's going to be harder and harder for Texas to be relevant in a lot of these straight up fights just because you're so short ranged and don't have a lot of damage.
There comes out a ping, King Clueless, heading towards that mid lane. Now we'll rotate bottom. Sees that the lane is wide. If he's going to find this gank, and there's the satchel shoving Trevor deeper into that one. Claw going to come out in time for Texas to keep him alive, but the same cannot be said for Trevor. King Clueless picking up kill number 4.
Very, very scary to be anybody on the side of UST at this point. Porsche, okay, he does get it.
Ooh, Porsche jumps in. The ultimatum going to be used. Afters can't escape this one. Will put out the fear, though. Maybe he can. Flash forward from Robbie. Will say no. Well-needed kill for Robbie Bob.
Definitely needs to find his way back in and Reborn, potentially getting jumped on.
We're not done.
Level
As
5
Texas will try and find the snare. Unable to get it, but the bomb comes out. Exithy so low. Reborn will make him pay. Exithy will fall to Katsuo. He's able to take that form and start throwing out a satchel of his own, trying to get some damage in. Pops the ultimate, continues to chase onto Clueless. The knockup comes up, but there is the heal from Trevor. It will keep him alive and net a double kill coming over for UST.
Kitsuo having a big fight coming up big, and it is going to mean that a couple of resets are coming through, a couple of shutdowns go over as well. They're not going to be able to get any damage on the turret really because Ziggs has come back to the lane, but it is still suddenly back to even goal between the two teams, and Kitsuo and King Clueless both super accelerated all of a sudden. And as we've seen so many times, Hecarim not really farming, so focused on finding these gangs, is going to be a little bit behind in experience, as we saw it now 2 levels down for Kitsuo.
Very, very far behind in the experience. But if you look at the gold, only 200 gold down for King Clueless. So he is keeping up with those kills. Definitely does need to start netting some of those camps to get his experience caught up. But it has been a pretty strong start for him so far. He is getting the gold towards his teammates, towards his other lanes.
He needs to start sharing it, right? He's got the 4 kills. He really needs Vex to be big, and the fear comes through.
And here we go. Knock up onto Robbie. Here comes King Clueless. He's not sharing, man. He's not sharing any of it. Will grab that kill for himself, but White fall in the process. Almost gets the sidestep. Katsuo will be able to take him down. Goes after. Is not going to use the charge to get any more, but might set his attention towards top lane as we do see minion wave is crashing. They're going to back off. Going to be Porsche.
That was cute. I don't know if I've ever seen Camille do that before, where they just go for an auto attack after throwing out the E, just to make sure that they don't take a turret shot. It's not the most impactful thing, but it is neat. A small, champion mastery thing coming through. But the big thing now is we're seeing last resistance. They're trying to go for a lot of proactive plays. And we saw that even earlier this game, a lot of their success came from punishing things that UST were doing. Now that they're trying to have King Clueless be really aggressive, not quite as effective.
Ooh. Nice gank coming out of Afters. Finds it quite easy. Going to take down Porsche in the process and net a kill over to Elated. It's 1v1 matchup with the Fiora versus Camille.
They can continue getting Elated ahead. Provides another alternative win condition, because Fiora, not the most useful thing in the team fights, right? But very, very effective at split pushing. And if they can continue to keep Camille out of these team fights by continuing to create pressure, it's going to be very, very helpful for them. But they are still losing out on this Rift Herald. When UST does crash that, it is going to create awkward situations where Last Resistance is going to have to try and find weird ways to respond to it, because, they don't have a real AD carry. They have a Ziggs, and it's going to be doing a lot of damage to structures, but not going to be doing a lot of damage to a lot of these objectives as we start to go forward.
Texas walking towards Reborn, but Reborn not going to show himself, just waiting for backup to come, and then over the wall
Oh.
using the blast plan. Brilliant. The ultimate comes out, but it's only going to delay the death as King Clueless picks up kill number 6.
Great play coming through from Last Resistance, really understanding where people are going to be, and they tried to move it into a bottom lane dive as well, but Trevor not going to give it to them, and this is going to be a lot of that damage we were talking about as Ziggs now able to hit the structure, getting a lot of gold for the team, and turning that kill into more than just a kill, which is always what you need to do in League of Legends.
This is where we saw a lot of the strength coming out of USD. They were constantly shoving this lane all the way to the tower of Last Resistance, completely flipped from the positioning of Reborn, being able to catch out that room of Texas and net in those plates, which is also going to give enough priority to grab the Drake as well for Last Resistance.
A little bit of attack speed, a little bit of cooldown reduction, or haste, as it's called now. Not necessarily going to be the most amount. Oh my god, Robbie.
Ooh, nasty combo on the afters, forcing his flash to be burnt. Going to use the blast plant, but here comes Kitsuo. Looking to try and finish off the job. Will get spotted out as afters, gets to safety, gets his teleport. On his teleport, his recall. Coming in now is going to be King Clueless, who's inside of his jungle. Kitsuo might look to stalk him out right here. He's going to chase him down, run right into the face of King Clueless, and steal away his Gromp.
It's not obvious to me who wins that, right? There is still a lot of kills going over towards King Clueless, but doesn't have an item completion, whereas Kitsuo does, and he's also down a level. So if there was a completed Divine Center, I think I would have won, but Reborn's gotta be a little bit more careful than just hopping over some of these walls when you know Kitsuo could have been there. Luckily, Kitsuo wasn't ready.
Robbie, who has been suffering a little bit in this lane, will be able to get a tower first break of the game, but here comes the engage! King Clueless could not get in, gets stifled completely. Now Kitsuo joins the fight, has to back off after eating some of the damage that comes out of afters.
A lot of nothing ends up happening, right? Because Afters goes in, doesn't have the fear ready, and we are also seeing that Robbie Bob, big CS lead.
Ooh, the ultimate comes out and the damage follows through. That combo, so easy to land the rocket, so easy to be able to take down Exathy. Now the cavalry has arrived, quite literally, as Rakan and Hecarim going after Trevor. Trevor gets a couple of autos, no mana, will pop the heal, try to get away. Onslaught of Shadow is going to be used, completes the kill, and in the mid lane, Robbie takes down Afters.
Interesting trade there with the heal for the ultimate. I mean, it does mean that Clueless has to exert a little more, but I think it'll it'll definitely be up with 3 minutes left before the dragon. So there's not a whole lot to necessarily fight for in the meantime, that having that ultimate down is necessarily going to mean for the side of UST. But this is also a big question now as we start to look at the game, is they're down in kills. They are, I believe, even in structures, or they are up 1 structure. Do they feel like they're stronger? And I feel like the answer for a lot of teams might be no, but with the way that UST have been playing this entire series so far, they have to feel like they're stronger, and this time, they're definitely right.
They can take fights. If you could take down King Clueless, that is a huge amount of the gold that Last Resistance have acquired, completely netted onto him. With everyone else still up, they still are threats, but definitely nowhere near as threatening as King Clueless is for these team fights. That's going to be the thing, these team fights around these neutral objectives. We're 14 minutes in, we're heading towards the mid-game stage, 2 minutes until the Cloud Drake's going to land onto the map, and we have about 1.2k gold separating these two teams.
Not a very large lead coming out for UST, but it is crucial that a couple of members already have their mythics completed, right? Robbie Bob has not only his Everfrost, but also his Shadow Flame completed, which is going to give a lot of great magic penetration, especially against some of the shielded targets like Rakan and the Vex. The other big thing is that the Gale Force is completed here onto Trevor, so it becomes a lot harder to hit him with a lot of the engage tools, right? King Clueless might not be able to get to him or stick to him, and if you can't get any of this... Oh!
Here comes the dive, here comes the engage, here comes an easy kill.
Just kidding.
Netted for Last Resistance, a late teleport coming out of Robbie, but the re-engage comes out as going to use the ultimatum. Is going to be Porsche. Kitsuo able to grab 1 kill onto Exathy. Reborn looking to run away as Porsche will take down Clueless in the process. It's going to be a 2-for-1 exchange, looking for more, unable to get more. Going to be in favor of UST.
Well, I guess that's the other big part that the Gale Force does allow, even though Trevor ends up going down, he buys so much resources from the enemy team that they have nothing left to fight. And so now it's a big question of which of these teams is more reliant on their ultimates, UST or Last Resistance. And it is absolutely Last Resistances. They really need to have access to their ultimates to actually take some of these fights, and by demanding that you use them all on Trevor, it means they're not available to fight Kitsuo or Robbie Bob, and we saw they were able to turn it around really, really effectively. And now with 30 seconds left, you gotta get your recalls in if you want to spend your gold. You just gotta start moving your way over towards the Dragon, because even though UST have a lead, it is not large enough to allow Last Resistances to get another Dragon on their way to the Cloud Soul.
And 20 seconds until that dragon does spawn. Already starting to posture for it is going to be Last Resistance. No men really supply towards the bottom side for UST. It does seem like they want to go straight for the dive. They want to go for the aggressive play, and they find it onto Elated. They're trying to get more. The Grand Challenge going to be used from Elated, dissuading Porsche to go for more. Minion Wave yet to crash into that tower. University of St. Thomas still putting their attention there. They're going to grab the Rift Herald as well. They concede that Drake over. Dragon Soul Point going to go over to Last Resistance.
See if this is going to be worthwhile for University of St. Thomas. It's an argument that the Cloud Dragon and the Cloud Soul might not be the most important thing, but characters like Hecarim and Rakan really like it.
Going right after Robbie. Going to be able to get a shutdown on him. Kill number 8 at this point for King Clueless as he gets taken down by the storm. Robbie, post-mortem, able to get his revenge.
Hey, that's really big for UST. Not only is it a huge shutdown going over to Robbie, but they're also going to be moving forward and using the tempo that it provides by a lot of pressure getting used up by Last Resistance. And we also see Trevor is the one who's holding on to this Rift Herald. I wonder if they're going to be crashing it right now, or if they want to hang on to it for a little while longer, but Reborn might be getting caught.
Reborn jumps over the wall, will get followed through. Kitsuo looking to finish the job, cannot get to his teammate. Kitsuo grabs one.
Going to be finding yet another one. It feels like UST, some other teams might not be making this, but as we said, UST feels strong over and over again. Texas might be in an awkward situation, but a bit of a mind game.
Comes King Clueless, gets caught out by the Frozen Tome, takes a lot of damage in the process, still chases down Texas and forces him to flash over the wall. Elated will take down Trevor, however. With Trevor down, the main carry you need for some of these fights is going to be another one going down as Exathy takes down Texas, looking for more. Kitsuo unstoppable. Afters so critically low, and this is looking like it's starting to fall apart here as UST claim member after member. 3 down for Last Resistance, only 2 lost for University of St. Thomas. Reborn gets closer, tries to steal away the Scuttle, unable to get it over the wall. Comes Porsche, can't find Reborn. And now just going to back off is UST, but fights happening across the map, Josh.
All over the place, and it definitely went in favor of UST. They have a really good skirmishing comp that comes with not necessarily being super reliant on your ultimates, but they are, they don't have a much larger lead than they did before all those fights started, but it is still a lead, and they have a Jinx and a Victor. They're going to continue getting stronger and stronger as the game goes, and just blowing people up whenever they come near. And at the same time, Porsche should have an opportunity to, if not take this entire turret, or he is going to take the entire turret. And now, looking to get out, but Kitsuo might also be caught.
Kitsuo getting chased, elated. Doesn't have much left to really go for this chase. King Clueless might, though. Waiting for an onslaught of shadows. It is on cooldown, just barely coming off right now. Those tools now ready to be utilized by Last Resistance. And they've been able to utilize these quite well as they go for these engages. Just University of St. Thomas, they're the ones getting their footing very slowly but very surely back into this as they find fights where King Clueless cannot be as effective. And we talked about it. King Clueless has a lot of that gold netted just to himself. If he's not in a fight, if he is eliminated, UST has a very real fighting chance to be able to take the team fight.
And honestly, I'm not convinced by his build either. The Frozen Heart, it works decently well against Camille and Viego and Jinx, but it doesn't do anything to try and help you up against Robbie Bob or Texas on this Lissandra. That's a good chunk.
Actually making him pay.
Yeah. But you're also missing out on a lot of base HP, right? Something like Asterix, I feel like, is generally the way that most Hecarims go as your second item, and for a long time, people have been saying this is like one of the best items in League of Legends. It is so strong, especially on melee champions. And here, just missing out on a lot of raw HP that makes the resistances an even better multiplier.
And the recall's coming in now. Not going to be spotted out. Porsche, King Clueless. Waiting for this meeting to happen. Just kind of baiting around with the recalls. You're waiting for that death push to fall through. Kitsuo wasn't going to follow through and go after Elated, but it seems like that might be the case here. They think Elated's by himself, so Porsche would be happy to go ahead and go with that engage. Elated starts to back off, and some chip damage in, as here comes King Clueless, waiting for the onslaught of shadows. It's going to be a shutdown picked up as the bomb comes through. The rocket finds its mark, makes this a 1-for-1, but King Clueless can go nowhere but to the grave. Kitsuo will take him down with the help of Robbie, Bob, and UST. They claim 2. They sacrifice Porsche. They are happy moving forward.
That's really, really rough at this point coming in. If King Clueless isn't strong enough to start winning these fights on his own, it's going to be very difficult for the rest of Last Resistances to do anything. And now they're trying to find Trevor.
Ooh, and they're able to get Trevor. The super mega death bomb comes down. Exathy will take down the ADC of UST, and that's what we're talking about. The responses that come out of Last Resistance, they're a reactive team. You find something somewhere, they will try and make something happen. Not always successful. They are fighting in this game right now and staying in it due to it.
Okay, Reborn also caught now. TC Porsche going to try and find the backline.
Porsche trying really hard right now. Can't find a good angle to get in there. Doesn't have the ultimatum as well, so can't lock someone down instantly. It's a quarter on the cooldown left before that's going to be available. Texas now gets engaged on. Going to use the Frozen Tomb to get the lockdown. It's going to last long enough for Robbie Bob to claim a double. Still, one going to fall, but UST are going to continue fighting. King Clueless oh so low. The rocket's going to miss, but the Drake gets picked up by King Clueless. Stolen away. That is going to be Drake's soul for Last Resistance as they lose the back end of that team fight. They might take an ace as well as UST proceeds forward. They see the poor little Yordle as he pops the satchel charge and just barely gets back into his base, but that is Baron left on the table for UST, and Dragon Soul picked up for Last Resistance.
Last Resistance have a bit of a win condition once again. We said how strong this soul really is for characters like Rakan, like for Hecarim. You get so much movement speed on Hecarim, just gets raw AD out of that every single time, but with this Baron going over in an 8,000 gold lead that suddenly ballooned in favor of University of St. Thomas, it might not matter. You open yourself an opportunity to go for the Elder Drake, but that doesn't happen for another 5 minutes at this point, and you're going to have to defend your base during the entire period that this is going to be coming through, and it looks really, really difficult for them to go for anything. The Fjord doesn't contribute a lot to team fights, and Afters is just really far behind Robbie Bob at this point of the game.
Just under 8k separating these teams so firmly in favor of UST, and they're looking to get more as they get a kill onto Elated, who is floundering over on that top side, gets picked up by Robbie, who finds kill number 9, already has his death cap, already has his void staff. LR looking to try and get whatever they can, looking for whatever silver linings they can find, but the ultimatum from Porsche is too good and helps keep Trevor alive, helps them pick up the back end of those kills. 2 down. Last Resistance on full retreat. Texas looking for the play, can't seem to get it as Afters provide some backup, but LR in such a bad position.
I feel like we're starting to look at the beginning of the end here for Last Resistance. They have Ziggs who can stall out games really effectively, but against the Baron minions, it becomes a lot more difficult to actually clear out any of these waves. And we're seeing UST starting to shift over towards the top side of the map as well. Camille completely uncontested for a little while longer. Not going to actually be hitting the structure, not feeling necessarily safe against Elated all on their own. But it's still a 10,000 gold lead coming in for UST, and they are looking towards their opportunity to actually play up against Team Lawrence when they win.
Fight breaking out over in the bot lane. Can't get a good look at it right now as it finally chips over. Robbie is able to grab one. It's going to be 2 down. Last Resistance losing that fight, retreating back into their base. They're able to get Robbie on the other half of that fight, but still they are shoved into their base. The minion waves are here. Baron empowered minions on top of that. University of St. Thomas is knocking at your door, and you are down men.
Kitsuo just being willing to tank it up, and it is going to reward them with the structure. And now going to be starting to threaten the inhibitor as well. Instead, going to be backing away. Kitsuo took a little bit too much damage for Texas and Trevor to feel safe. And the question is wait, oh, elated. This might be the wrong place. You might not want to be here.
Elated. This is a little rough, buddy. Tries to get the parry, unable to get it. Neither did the hookshot find its target, but there comes out the ultimatum. Backup is there, and Katsuo is now legendary. 907, 16.0 undefined KDA, and it's going to keep growing. But meanwhile, Last Resistance are able to get some vengeance into their hands. Zap finds its marks onto Exathy, but here comes the flank from Katsuo, and Robbie Bob brings the damage, looking to find more. The stun goes through, able to get one, is going to be afters, but he is getting chased by Robbie, he's getting chased by Katsuo, and he can do nothing but cower in his base.
They're just trading kills back and forth, but every single time UST is finding an extra one, and that just leaves them with more people left on the map. At this point, the golden experience you get from kills are nice, but more important than that is the amount of time you just get to hit these structures without anybody doing anything about it. TC Porsche now adding to damage to this top lane turret, and King Clueless, despite his 9 kills, still has 8 deaths. Doesn't really have the tools to stay alive during these long team fights.
He is struggling to have an impact as we get into the late game. An inhibitor down in the mid lane, 26 minutes into this, and a strong lead, about 11k in the favor of University of St. Thomas. Taking a look at what's on the map right now, we still got a while before Baron, we still got a while before Elder Drake, a minute 20 before that spawns, but Last Resistance are going to be watching that very carefully as they send Reborn out to get that early vision, to get some sort of track to be able to contest that objective.
This is still the way back in for Last Resistance. If they can get this smite onto the Elder Dragon, it gives them so much team fighting power that it makes up for all the issues earlier. But Flash being blown from Exathy a minute before the Dragon suddenly becomes super, super dangerous. Exathy is not going to be safe, and Last Resistance are all spread out. There's no way that they can contest this Dragon from this kind of position. They need to consolidate their power and actually find individuals.
Porsche jumps in, looks to get onto Elated. Elated takes a lot of damage. His health bar goes down so quickly as Katsuo is able to grab that one. King Clueless now looking to run out as Trevor tries to land the zap, unable to get it over the wall. Comes Reborn, and he finishes off Trevor. It's going to be another one picked up as Texas goes golden. Just buying time at this point. Exathy takes him out as soon as he comes out. And another one down in the bot lane. Afters fighting to try and take down Porsche. Able to survive. And suddenly University of St. Thomas are down 3 members. Only Elated has gone down for Last Resistance. And Last Resistance, they're defending with everything they have. And they're looking to collapse onto these final 2 members. King Clueless going in too early. Exathy and Reborn are the only ones that are left. But it's damage dealers that remain on the side of University of St. Thomas. Afters now going to pop up as he takes a teleport towards the bottom lane. Storm. Now looking to try and find Robbie. Robbie gets some damage and puts out the Chaos Storm and puts down the Vex. Porsche tries to back off. Reborn looking to find an angle in to try and stop Robbie from getting onto X. The Exathy too low on the mana bar, and Robbie will claim him. Elated dives forward, looking to finish off Robbie, gets the grand challenge and gets the kill. Last Resistance just barely able to win out that team fight, but at what cost, Josh?
Everyone died in that whole sequence, and now the team that's actually going to be hitting the Elder Dragon is going to be University of St. Thomas, as Trevor and Texas going to be hitting this completely uncontested. King Clueless doing his best. He's already running well on over, but he is just one man against the world. Is he going to be able to take down this dragon?
Oh, there are the snares. There's the Frozen Tomb, and Elder Drake going over to University of St. Thomas. Texas running the defense there will do a great job at defending the Alamo as Elder Drake secured for University of St. Thomas.
One way that we were looking at Last Resistance to come back into the game, taken down by UST, and now with everything they could really ask for, are going to start pushing in on the rest of the base. They should be willing to take almost any fight, and the way that Robbie Bob has been playing this game, just blowing up anybody, it feels almost disdainful. It's like, oh, you think you can fight me? You think you can fight me? And Kitsuo just goes in by himself.
Waiting for that final fight to come through as Katsuo able to back up in time. Here comes the bomb, able to get a good chunk of damage in. 2 members absorbing so much, but finally going down is going to be Katsuo. Going down is going to be Porsche, but King will follow as he gets picked up on the backside. Still, Last Resistance are defending. They're fighting. They have fight left in them, and tooth and nail, they're willing to go to be able to stay in the series.
2 kills might be enough to stop UST from trying to end the game with this Elder Dragon. It doesn't last very long. They've bought a lot of time coming through by actually picking up all these kills. And crucially, UST a little bit overextended. But can I also just say, remember how I was asking for Asterix coming out on King Clues? Did you see how long K2L and Porsche actually survived? Okay, XD.
Exathy caught out. Robbie Bob will be able to get him as the Frozen Tomb does its job. Texas will follow. Robbie still high health and will get the double. Reborn and Afters forced to back off because you gotta respect the 18 kill victor.
Oh, he's
Robbie
dead.
Bob is a monster, and so is Trevor, as from a distance we'll be able to claim that one. But here comes the king, wants to claim Robbie, gets the autos in, wailing away with the scythe. It is not enough to take down Robert Bobbert. He claims the kill. Reborn just leaves the damn game. All 5 dead for Last Resistance. University of St. Thomas, they got a date with Team Lawrence in the finals.
They got all 4 dragons with a Hecarim, but it doesn't matter at this point. They're going to be leaving the game. They know this one's over. They're not going to be surrendering still. Going to be forcing UST to take it down, but there's not enough time. XT is already out of the game, as we said, and UST winning 2-1. It's a long road. But now